Let's close our eyes and relax our body. Think of peace. Think of the power of peace as we go within, turning loose of this day, bringing your full attention to this place and this circle of light. Remember that each one here is as much part of the contact as the one who speaks. Think of this circle of light getting brighter and brighter as those higher beings come closer. As we reach up, they reach down to make contact with us. And those in the balcony who are on the other dimensions who have come to listen and to share this experience with us, lend their light and their joy and love. Let us send God's love to all, those in the physical and those who are unseen to the physical, and to all other groups like this in the whole world and the whole universe. Thank you, Father. Well, this is Class 183, our Wednesday night channeling. The title's kind of long. I think we'll shorten it. It says, "You are alive, you belong." Your awareness of your being says you belong to the family of life. No matter what your past has been or what is happening in your life now, you are one with all life, and all life is one with you. As you learn to accept this truth, it can make a difference in your thoughts of yourself, others, and life as you find it. Most fail to realize the importance of their thoughts, the impact it has on themselves, the environment, and the whole universe. As you accept your family ties with the life of all life, your attitude towards yourself, others, and life takes on a new understanding and opens the door to learn how to love. Life everywhere present is an expression of God's love. No matter what you think of your neighbor or anyone, remember the life force that you are is the same life that comes directly from the source. We all share one thing in common, the one and only life. You are your brothers and sisters' keeper, for you are your brother and sister. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Don, coming to you from these realms of divine love and light. It is a pleasure to see you and to welcome the new ones that are here this evening. We want to thank Stephen and Mary for filling in for Donald while he was away. This is a beautiful sight when we see your circle of light and those who have gathered to be with you, the higher beings that are here to support you in this contact, and those who have come from this side of the veil to share with you that which you receive. Our title tonight is an interesting one. It is my pleasure to bring the message to you this evening. You belong. So many think they are separate from others, from different races, from different cultures, and even from their neighbors. This is not true. You are all of the same life. You all share the one thing in common, the same life force that comes directly from the Creator of all life. This understanding can give you a new meaning if you think about it and meditate on it in the way of realizing that it can open the door to learn how to love yourself first and then others and everyone in life. When you understand that no matter what another has done or what you have done, no matter what the past has been, the moment is the only reality. The moment is here and now. And as you understand this and take into consideration that the one life is the keeper of all that is, because it keeps alive that which you see around you. Yes, mankind has created different things because he is a co-creator with God, and some of them do not seem so beautiful to you. But remember, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and there are many experiences on these lower dimensions for you to have, experiences that will add to your growth, experiences that you need to build your spiritual stature. These experiences may not seem to you to be very pleasant at the time, but when you look back on them from a higher point of view, you will see and understand that they were necessary for a greater understanding within you and to build your consciousness to a higher level. Understanding the oneness of all life is a very important thing for everyone. And even when you think you might understand it, sometimes you do not remember it. There are times when you think this one or this country or that thing is happening is terrible and bad, and you forget that this plane is just a plane of experience. It is just a play on a stage. Yes, you've heard this many times, but how many times do you forget it when you're thinking of the world situation, when you're thinking of the ones you work with, the situations that you have to deal with in life? As you can learn to be relaxed and at peace about life as you find it, as you learn to accept things as they are, and this does not mean that you cannot help to change yourself, because you are the only one that you can change, but you can be a channel for God to work through and send God's love often through the day. You can be an example for the expression of God. This is your purpose in being, is to manifest God. For God expresses himself through his creations. God is aware of your every thought, every feeling. He is aware that you are in a struggle at times between your little self and your higher self, between the physical self and the God self. He is aware that you are learning and growing, that you sometimes forget who you truly are, and you revert to the old situation of being human instead of godlike. In your growth scale, it is your purpose on this dimension to move out of identifying just with the physical self. Yes, you do have to play your part. You do have to play your role. and go through these experiences that you need and that you have attracted to you for your growth. And too often you resist them because they seem uncomfortable. They seem to be less than desirable. But I tell you, my dear ones, you and you alone have drawn these experiences to you for a learning process. You need to understand this, and you need to understand it in the depths of your being, not just on the surface understanding, but to understand that and to feel and to know that you are one with all life on all dimensions. When you limit yourself and your thoughts to just this physical plane, then you limit yourself indeed. It is important that you think more about your being on other dimensions, because as you are one with all life, you are one with the highest level in life, not just this physical plane. You are one with the highest dimension and one with God Himself. As you understand this and realize your divinity, then can you move higher in consciousness through looking at yourself and life around you in a much different way, from a different point of view. When you understand that you and God are one, and God is everything that is, when you understand this and take it into your consciousness and accept it, no matter what you see, what appears to be on this plane, what appears to be in other countries, what appears to be all around you, it is just an appearances. And as your master teacher said, judge not by appearances, but judge righteous judgment. As you realize that you have the ability to tune in to the understanding of life, the greater understanding above and beyond this physical little self understanding, then can you realize much more of yourself and your ability to be much more than you are at this moment. You are playing a certain role, and you seem to be confined to this physical plane and your physical body. But this is just appearances, my dear ones. You are unlimited, but only you can make this decision. Only you can decide that you will accept your limitless ability to do anything and everything in the whole of life. This may sound too much for you at this time, for you are so conditioned and programmed to be on this physical plane and confined to this physical shell you call the body. But I tell you, my dear ones, there will come a day for you to move out of this rut of thinking. There will come a day when you move into this consciousness of divine being, realizing your divinity, understanding how you can rise above this even while you're in the physical body and on this physical plane. Many have done this, not relative to your numbers, but many more than you realize have risen above the physical while they are still in the physical, and they have ascended to the consciousness of understanding that they are without limit. You do not hear about most of these. You hear about a few so that you will have an example. But it is true that there are a few that move forward into this higher consciousness, especially in the Aquarian age, as you call it, the golden age, the age that you have just come into. This age is over 2,000 of your years, and as this age progresses, the vibrations continue to raise and accelerate. And if you can keep up with this acceleration, if you can keep your thinking in the way that will move you forward instead of trying to stand still, because when you try to stand still, you go backward. The whole of life is yours to explore. The whole of life is yours to know and to understand. When you realize that you are not limited, then you can move out of this rut of limitation that you have placed upon yourself and move in to a greater understanding that will give you the greater consciousness to realize who you truly are. The key to all this that I am speaking about is learning how to love. And when we speak of love, we're speaking of divine love. Love that is above and beyond this physical plane. Love that is of God. When you love unconditionally, you're loving as God loves. But when you put conditions on your love, then you're loving in the physical sense, and it is not truly love, but a bargaining chip. When you understand this and realize that everything, all things are working together for good, that all things are as they need to be, everyone is in their correct place. The things that are happening in the world are an outworking of the inner understanding or misunderstanding of the individuals involved. At this particular time in your new age, you have many things happening that seem distraught to you, but it is like a boil coming to the surface, and it needs to be understood that this impurity is important to come to the surface and to be cleansed. As this cleansing process takes place, it appears to be less than it is from the physical point of view. And sometimes there is fear about the world conditions. There's fear about your ability to make money and to keep your life intact from the physical sense. But I tell you, my dear ones, think not in this way, but think in the righteous way. The righteous means the right useness of the law, the eternal laws of God. When you put this into action and realize that you can bring yourself up and above what appears to be on the physical plane, then you are in control of your life. You are the master of yourself. But until you turn loose of the old programming that you have come in with, most of you, and have added to in your younger years, then you are still in the same rut of thinking. And even those who have studied for a while in the spiritual ways still revert back to the old ways, and you need to keep on moving forward, seeing the truth. And when you trip, do not be upset about this. Just get up and dust yourself off and move on, walk on, knowing that God is in his heaven and all is right with the world. All is right in your life when you can think of it as this way. But when you dwell on your so-called problems, when you dwell on lack instead of abundance, then you bring lack into your life. You bring more problems into your life. Instead of this, my dear ones, dwell on that which truly is. Life is abundant everywhere present. The life force that flows through you can bring you the understanding and teach you how to love, can teach you how to bring into your life the things that will enhance your life. Instead of working against yourself, you can learn to work with the flow of life and be enhanced with every day and to move forward. There will be times when you slip back on these lower dimensions, but I tell you, my dear ones, if you are open to God's love and God's direction, if you ask for help, you will receive it. If you seek, you will find. If you knock, the doors will be open to you. Realize this, know it, and remember it. Too many times you do know it in a sense, but you sometimes forget who you are. This is a way of lulling yourself into the physical sort of hypnosis that most people on this planet keep themselves in, and they try to run away from their problems through different ways. They forget to reach within instead of trying to solve everything by reaching without. The inner is the reality of life. The outer world that you call your life on the physical plane is illusion. It is not real. It is not real in the sense of eternity because it is in a constant state of decay. And what is true on your physical plane today can change very easily on the morrow. When you reach within for the eternal truth of life, you feel the oneness with life. You learn to identify with that higher part of yourself. You learn to accept that which is around you and realize that it is needed for those who are going through that experience and for you who are going through your experiences. There are many things that we could say tonight about being alive. So many do not even stop to think and consider that you exist. And because you exist, you belong to the family of life. You belong to all of life. And all of life belongs to you. You are one. When you can accept this and be at one-ment with the God within you and realize your divinity, then you can realize that you're one with all that you experience, all that you see, even though it appears on this physical plane to be other than it truly is. Let us stop at this time and give you opportunity to ask questions and to share with us your understanding, your thoughts and feelings. Do we have questions here this evening? feel free to share your thoughts and your feelings.
Many of our teachers have said that the wars and conflicts in different places on our planet is a way of the planet cleansing itself. Would this happen in, would this same process of cleansing be likely to happen in the lives of individuals? That is to say, negativity coming to the surface and taking many forms, negativity coming to the surface so it can be dealt with and eliminated.
The wiser individuals, is this what you... Your question was not quite clear.
How can I clarify?
By stating who you are talking about and what you are talking about.
The spiritual student.
A spiritual student. Yes, the spiritual student still has some conflict within them, or they would be a master. You see, everyone on this plane is here for a definite reason. They are here for soul's growth, like everyone else, but each one of you are different and an individual. The spiritual students, such as yourself and those who gather in these circles around your planet, are all seeking to have a greater understanding. They move forward, and the conflict is not so great as you learn to understand yourself in a much better way from a spiritual point of view. But still, there is some cleansing to be done. There is a greater understanding to be garnered. And so they stay in the physical to get this understanding. There are many subtleties in life, and when you get to the place where some of you are of understanding much more than the masses on this planet, understanding what life is all about and reaching upward to raise your consciousness, then you are much freer than they are. But you still have a ways to go, or you would not be here. You may be here to help others if you become a master, but does this help your understanding?
Yes, it does. It sometimes seems that as the understanding increases, so do the challenges.
Yes, this is true, because you see, you take on what you can handle. You do not, as is saying that God will not put on you more than you can stand, something like this. But you see, you're on one level, and you rise above this level, so you have many other things to understand that were not confronting you at that time because it would be too much. And as you rise above one level, then you move into another level, and it will give you the opportunities that most people call trouble and problems to move forward and move higher. Be not discouraged about this, because it is something to be grateful for. If you can remember that you can be truly grateful in all things, and this is literally true for you on your physical plane and in your spiritual understanding, for whatever confronts you, whatever you meet and are challenged with, as you say, then this is an opportunity for you to have greater spiritual growth and a higher consciousness. Is this clear to you?
Yes.
Yes. It is something that sometimes those who are striving to have a better spiritual life misunderstand. and they become a little discouraged. Be not discouraged, but be grateful to know that when you have worked out some of your karma, as you call it, then you are in a position and have more spiritual strength to handle more of your karma that you have accumulated. So you are demonstrating that you have moved forward and upward in consciousness and have a greater ability to handle more. Are there other questions this evening? Feel free and open to ask questions.
Could I ask about the channeling last week with Stephen?
Yes, it was very good, and we want to commend Stephen with this and his ability to go forward and do it. There was some conversation and some thoughts in the audience about maybe I could do this, but do I have the courage to sit here in this chair and allow the teachers to come through me? This is a good thing that opens up the doors of others' understanding and thoughts. And it should be given opportunity for those who would like to work with this. I would suggest that those who wish to be a channel, such as Donald is doing now, could practice at home with their tape recorder and microphone, or maybe with writing or typing. When you stop to realize and understand, you know that you have the inner guidance, and some of you are much more conscious of it than others. This inner guidance is always there, this inner ability to bring forth the understanding that is above and beyond the physical, the understanding that can be relayed to you from these higher dimensions when you are open. Many of you have this ability, but are not quite ready for it because you are afraid you might not measure up or something like this. Be not concerned about this, but allow yourself to be an open channel. And Donald started with writing in longhand, and this is his way. Your way may be some other way. All of you have this guidance from your higher self, the God within you, and from us who watch over you, and sometimes do not recognize it. When you do recognize it, be grateful for it. Stephen had the courage to sit here and allow this to happen, and it is good for him, it is good for you to see this, and it is good for his teachers and those who are working to be teachers and guides on this side. You may not realize it, but we have many who are students that have chosen to work with your plane, and so they go with someone who is more experienced to learn how, just as you would be breaking into a new job and different work. You would have someone to help you to learn your new job. This is a continuous thing, and there are those who, on this side of the veil, who desire to work through and to speak through another and allow their understanding to be heard on the physical. And so it is with you who are on the physical. You have the ability, many of you, now. You can further this ability by practice, and you may, if you are too stage shy, shall we say, practice at home, and always realize that the teachers on the higher dimensions of love and light will never tell you exactly what to do. They will never give you answers to questions such as the stock market or the horse races, things like this. They will bring you spiritual lessons only. They will give you a broader view, maybe, so that your understanding can be increased if you can see this broader view with them. So as you work with yourself, as you open up to receive guidance, remember that if it is good, if it seems good to you, then it is of God. If it feels right, if it does not, it is not. These are subtle things, and there are times when people are too gullible and too eager, and they accept someone from the lower realms, and for a while they are used in that way. But you will soon understand this. You will soon know, because they will give themselves away. Many think this is a dangerous thing to do. The only danger, my dear ones, is you yourself. You protect yourself by your motive. Your motive is your protection. Why are you doing this? What is your reason behind this? If your motive is pure and to be an open channel for God to work through and for His helpers to work through you, then your motives are in the right place, and you will attract to you those from the realms of love and light. Wherever you are, whatever level you're vibrating at, this is what you attract to you, whether it's on the physical plane or whether you are reaching to be a channel for life to, on these planes, to work through. Does this answer all of your questions, my dear?
I had this one other thing that I wanted to comment on and ask you to elaborate on, and that was that I had the really strong impression when Thea and I arrived last Wednesday that we had all been on the other side, and so on one level or another, the people who came last Wednesday knew what was going to be happening. And with that in mind, and after I shared that with Stephen, I didn't have any nervousness about it or anything, because I knew that it would have all been worked out already.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a little?
You leave your body at night when you think of sleep. You are not really asleep. You are just leaving your body to manifest on these dimensions. And most of you do not bring back the memory of this. But you are on these other dimensions. And everything comes from above down, as Donald said, or from within out. So everything is worked out on the higher dimensions before it happens on your physical plane. And yes, you are correct. Those who were here knew in a sense, not in a physical sense, but in a sense that from their higher understanding what was taking place. This is true in all areas of your life. When you realize that nothing is created just from the physical plane, it has to begin on the higher dimensions and work its way down to your physical level, then you know where to go to bring forth the things that you would create in your life. You are a co-creator with God, and the substance of your creation comes from God himself. So this is your source, and it filters down through the many dimensions, and God has many helpers that are working to bring about the manifestations of those who are learning how to create. And so realizing this and understanding that all things are possible to those who can believe, this fits in with this understanding of everything comes from above down or from within out. Everything comes from the highest point of consciousness. Does this help your understanding?
Yeah, it's a great deal. It gives me a certain amount of comfort, too, knowing that I've already rehearsed what I'm going through on the other side. So it's already been said and done. It's kind of a comforting factor.
Yes, it can be. When you understand that you're one with all life, you see, and there's no separation between the dimensions, really. Your dimension, of course, is a plane of illusion, but still you belong to the family of life. And so those here, there are many here who are looking after you and watching over you. They cannot interfere with your free will, because this is one of God's laws, and not even he can do this. But they can give you guidance, they can give you hunches, they can place thoughts in your aura, and if you're open for them and pick them up, then you receive this. You also receive this through and from your higher self, from the God within you, from your own divinity. And when you clean house enough, the subconscious is what you think of in this sense. It also is the conscious mind. But when you cleanse these different dimensions on the lower realms, then you can reach into the light of understanding and bring it forth into manifestation on your physical plane. This is the understanding that most need on your physical plane, because they try to manifest things just from the physical level, realizing not that God is the source of all that is. Are there other questions this evening?
So if we were to dwell on the mechanics of this channeling, we at home would start speaking into a tape recorder or writing with open mind. And this would invoke the help of our guides and teachers, our higher self.
Yes. Send love into this, and send love into all the invisible, so-called, around you, and ask for guidance. You must ask because you have the free will. And when you sit down with pen or microphone and open yourself, realizing that the love, divine love that you have sent, reaches through the realms of darkness into the realms of light and love, and open yourself, then write down or speak into the microphone whatever comes to your mind. Do not analyze it as it is happening, but just be open and receptive, and allow it to come through, no matter what it seems to be like at the moment. If you will relax enough with this, you will find that it will make sense when you listen to it again or read it again.
you may have several false starts, but if you persevere, it can work out.
Yes, this is true. And you need not be concerned about any failures that you make. Just keep on trying. It is, for most, it is a new thing to do. It is very subtle, and it is easy for you to let the little self and its thoughts get in the way. But you need to set aside the physical conscious self. Set it aside, but you need not be unconscious, as Donald is not unconscious. He is what you might say semi-conscious. There are channels who do leave completely and allow the teacher or those who are working to take over their whole body. But he does not work in this way, and when you begin, it is not wise for you to do this unless you have done it before and understand what is happening. Does this make sense to you?
Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh. Each one of you are a channel, whether you know it or not, because God, life force, is flowing through you. You are a receptacle that God is pouring his being into, and you express it in the outer world in certain ways. It is your choice to express it in a negative way or a positive way, in a destructive way or a constructive way. God does not condemn you or judge you. He only loves you. But he is continually pouring himself, his life force, through you. And however you express your life is where your understanding is. If you want to measure your understanding, look at what's happening in your life. Look at how you are handling the things that are happening in your life. This is a good measurement for you. But do not dwell on the negative. Eliminate guilt altogether. There is nothing to be guilty about. Do not condemn yourself. These are destructive forces and will work against you and your enhancement of life. Are there other questions this evening?
Yeah, I have a question. Last week, in reference to working with my channel, Mary had mentioned that, just in passing back there, that I did a good job in reference to, the way I did it. But I have a question in reference to this possible confusion about whether it's my higher self coming through or a channel or a guide. I feel that, I felt good about it, but yet I wonder if I really only had one other time where I actually felt somebody, a different kind of presence coming through me, a different kind of channel. And I guess to me it kind of gets confusing as to whether what label I should put it on. Last week, was it my channel, was it my higher self? I didn't know really how to bring that across before I got started, or shouldn't I worry about any of that and just...
This is what I was about to say. Be not concerned. It all comes from the same source. Your message was good, and it was of God. That is all that you need to know. You see, everything that comes from God. An example is when Donald is speaking to us, he is referring to the Father, knowing that everything comes from the one source. He may speak to us individually at times in himself and as he goes through his day, but for the most part he says, "Thank you, Father," when knowing that his guides and teachers are the ones who have influenced him in certain ways to keep from making mistakes. You see, it all comes from the one source. There were influences for you last week coming from your higher self and through your higher self, but there are also the teacher that you named that was helping you. So you see, it all comes from many sources, as this message is tonight. There are those who are helping Donald to be at peace and set himself aside and allow these things to come through. There are those who are giving aid to those in the circle and sending love to them and helping them to understand the meaning of the message. They're individual teachers and guides. And there is a very high being that watches over your circle at all times and lends God's love straight from the source. So you see, it blends in to many different things. We give you names and titles for your satisfaction because you are used to this. Sometimes your teachers will not give you a name to help you to understand that it does not matter. You all have an eternal name, and this we could not bring down into your language properly. So do not ask what your name is, but you all are identified as an individual expression of the one life. But you have an eternal name as you would think of it. We think of it in a little different way from these higher dimensions than you think of as a label to put on yourself or a label to put on anything. Does this help your understanding?
Yeah, very much.
Yes.
There was one other thing in reference to, you kind of touched on it a little bit. I wanted to ask about, I felt the presence of, much of what you have talked about in the past in regard to how everyone is a part, just as much a part of the channel as the one that speaks. And I really became in tune with what that meant last week. And I guess the question that I want to ask is, I felt, Gadon and some of Don's helpers here lending their life force, but how was there any influence in reference to the actual, other than the oneness that were connected, was there any influence directly from them in reference to the message that came, or was it kind of just like the channel that works with me?
Yes, it was all blending in together. But there's one that's chosen, like I have been chosen to be the, shall we say, choose the words that are spoken to bring about the meaning. But the influence, you see, on these dimensions, we know that we are all one. And so, being one, the ones who are here lend themselves and the life force that flows from the Father through them into all that is in your group and in your circle. But there's one that is chosen, and yours was through your higher self, because this is what you are used to, but it was your teacher who chose most of the words that were spoken last week. Some of it came from your higher self, but most of it was from the teacher that you mentioned.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. It is, when you first began this kind of thing, you need reference points that you are used to. And we try to work with you from where you are. And the physical reference points is a name or a title. And this makes you feel more comfortable. but in true reality, it is all coming from the one source. And this one source can come through anyone who is open directly. And this may be a surprise to you that God can speak directly through a channel that is open enough for it. But it is true nonetheless. Are there other questions this evening? This is a beautiful circle of light this evening, and your inquiring minds are invited, and we invite you to join in by asking more questions and expressing yourself as you wish. If in the future any one of you feel that you would like to work as a channel, we will take some time to allow this to happen. When you feel that you're ready, then you may sit in this chair and allow the love of God to flow through you in words and bring a message. Just let Donald know, and he will allow the time for you to work in this way. You may be halting at times and at first, even Donald is halting at times, but be not concerned about this. Just try to relax and let it happen. If you practice at home, always know that God is with you, and your teachers from the realms of love and light are with you. Fill your house to overflowing with God's love, and send love to all those from other dimensions around you. And with the motivation of love and service, then you are protected, and you need not be concerned. It has been a beautiful evening and a beautiful time to be with you this evening. We enjoy very much sharing that which we understand with you and seeing you grow. For those of you who are really putting themselves into the programs here are moving forward. You are growing and blossoming into a beautiful spiritual being that you truly are. You're just bringing forth from within that which you already are, and it makes our heart glad, and we have such gratitude that you have found that inner place to allow it to come forth and to be the shining spiritual beings that you are. God bless each and every one of you, and good evening.
God bless you too.